Whoa, folks, it is a great day out there in the markets coming off a long holiday July 4th weekend. Hope you're doing well out there. We've got a great video queued up for you today. I'm going to talk about why I think the market is going to pump in July, why I'm very bullish on stocks in July. And then as promised, as always, I'm going to give you updates in my portfolio, exactly what I'm doing to achieve financial independence on the road to 2 million. And then I've got another special topic that I'll get to at the very end, what high net worth individuals I'm seeing the top 1% do that's different than the middle class. So let's jump right into it. $1.4 million net worth. If you're new to the channel, thanks so much for joining, for tuning in. We started this about 10, 11 days ago. We've got 24 subs, so thank you for your support. Thanks for being here. First things first, updates on the smallest account. This is the brokerage. It's up 1.36 at the time of the recording, and it's beating the market. It's beating the NASDAQ, and that's something I'm really focused on, is building a portfolio to have a financial lever for early retirement. And that's what the point of the brokerage is. The retirement accounts are set and good to go. So today I bought $250 of VUG, $250 of QQQM. And here's just a look at how things are lined up in this account today. Tesla's up, Bitcoin's up, been adding to Bitcoin heavily. VTI, the total market, I love that ETF. Google, the Mag 7 is up. I'm very bullish on the Mag 7, and I'm really liking what the crypto is doing out there, as well as the AI and chip stocks. So let's go ahead and talk about that. I just wanted to show you what's going on in the account. Last week, I actually put this video out. I said that the semiconductor trade is not over. There was a ton of negative news on semis. Everyone was saying it's over. The semiconductors stocks are going to zero. The run is over. And I explained in this video I'll point you to last week why it's not. And that's proven right, because today the semiconductor stocks, AMD, MU, they're continuing to run. There's been updates by big banks on AMD's price targets up another $100. And so I am still bullish on semis because I'm bullish on AI. Another thing I'm seeing out there as a footnote is Trump is pumping the markets, and he's pumping stocks along with all the politicians. We're in a different world of investing these days, where politicians and congressmen, you can see their trades, you can see their investments, you can see their market pumps and everything they're doing. And there's just a lot of money to be made with this sort of strategy, following what they're doing. It's not something that I do all the time, but it is very interesting to see what they're doing, and you don't have to complicate it too much. So reasons for the main topic of the video, reasons why I think the market's going to pump in July. Well, that is, first of all, because Q2 earnings are going to reinforce the bullish AI trade. Now, Q1 earnings, they surprised to the upside, especially on AI stocks, especially on semiconductors. Hyperscalers, the Mag 7, they have not had a great year. But that is going to change, I believe, in the Q2 earnings. And a lot of money is going to start to flow into the Mag 7. And so I'm positioning heavily into the Mag 7 right now. So the first reason is Q2 earnings, they're going to be very bullish beginning in mid to July to the upside surprise. And with that said, I have a couple of other reasons. The second is I think the economy is in a we're not really sure yet mode. We're still looking at the data. For the most part, it seems resilient. Unemployment near 4%. Corporate profits staying stronger. And until those fundamentals have a strong downside move, or there's some sort of surprise that we see from unemployment, or we see in the overall macro context of the economy, I think that we're going to be in a sort of neutral to dovish positioning, which I'll get to in a minute with the Fed and inflation. And then the third reason is that AI capital spending is actually continuing to balloon up. It's not going down. We're seeing more and more investment to the tune of hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. And this is going to continue to exceed for the foreseeable future in 2027 and 2028 and on into 2029. The AI capital spend is going to be massive, unlike anything we've ever seen. So then that leads to the momentum. The momentum is attracting more buyers in the S&P 500. More people we're getting international investment. We're talking big whales. We're not just talking about retail here. The momentum for buying in the market right now is at all-time highs. And then lastly, the Federal Reserve. This may be the most significant factor for the market, not just in July, but throughout Q3 into the end of the year. It's really all about what the Fed does with the rate cuts. And I have a contrarian view. Most of the market right now is baked in rate hikes at the end of the year. Small ones, 0.25%, 1 or 2. I think that it's actually more likely that there's going to be no rate hikes. And I would argue that there's going to actually be rate cuts. And I think that we're going to see a surprise that inflation is not as bad as we thought. And the print that we got, 4.1-ish last month, was largely due to the conflict in Iran with oil. And now that we've seen oil roll over, we're not going to see a lot more inflationary impact into the economy. And so what that means is I don't think the Fed is going to have to do rate hikes to hit their 2% target. I think that there is, and I wouldn't call it a soft landing per se. I think there is reason for rate cuts. Now, I'm not going to call when the rate cuts are going to be, but I am actually taking the view that I don't think the Fed is going to increase rates this year, which the market doesn't have baked in yet, and it will be a surprise to the market to the upside. Now, with that said, I want to move to a different topic about the top 1%. And this has to do with real estate. If you take a look at this chart, it shows the top 1% on the left. Their primary residence, in terms of their wealth, is less than 10%. And then most of their wealth is in financial assets outside of their primary residence. But if you look at the other 80%, it's quite the opposite. And this is where the middle class struggles. The middle class, most of their wealth is actually in their home. It's in the equity in their home. And what that means is the middle class is not able to build wealth as quickly and as strategically as the top 1%. Now, there is the next 19 in the middle that's kind of in limbo, that they do have quite a bit of their wealth. And I would put myself here. Most of my wealth is not in my primary residence, and most of my wealth is in the stock market and financial assets, but there's still a significant amount, around 30%, actually 33%. My ratio is 33% in my house and then 66% in the market. That's how it is for me. I like to keep the 2-to-1 sort of ratio, and I would like my investments in the stock market to be even much higher, closer towards that top 1% in terms of proportions. And I believe that overall, there's lots of ways to make money in real estate and make money in the stock market. And that's not what we're saying here. But just in terms of household wealth, it's very interesting that the top 1%'s household wealth is not in their house. It's not in their primary residence. It could be in real estate, it could be in rentals, it could be in commercial real estate or other things, but it's mostly in financial assets. So just wanted to point that out, something to think about and consider. Again, Trump has been pumping the market, mentioned that earlier with Bitcoin rebounding. Bitcoin, I think, that is in a halving cycle coming up, and we're bottoming out here. A lot of people are saying that. We could go lower, maybe not. Bitcoin's volatile, but it makes up 1% of my portfolio. 1 to 3% is really where I land without financial advice. But I am buying Bitcoin and adding it to the account every single week. And so when Trump pumps Bitcoin, that's just a very interesting thing that happens. So total net worth, 1.4 million. And we're on the road to financial independence. 2 million is the next milestone. Thanks so much for being here. If you like this content, just drop a like. And if you want to connect, just drop a comment. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much.